In your own time.
Welcome to our presentation. Our studio is called Black Hat Studios and our game is going to be called Cyber Streets.
Right, that's it. When it came to coming up with an idea, we were given the theme with cyberpunk. So we searched so many games that used a cyberpunk kind of theme with them, and a lot of them had a dystopian theme along with them. So we decided to go along that kind of road as well, which led us to, as you can see in the pictures, it led us to a lot of alleyways and like kind of more abandoned looking areas. And so that included with us adding the typical neon lights that you'd see in general cyberpunk theme, the typical the animating doors for any buildings that we would add in that you can access with detailed interiors, any grimy areas and that like particularly run down, open wires from damaged pieces of buildings, etc. Overflowing bins, bottles across the ground, pallets and crates from general scrap, and a nice little chain link fence to finish it off at the end.
So similar games to our game that that gave us inspiration would be Stray, which is like you play as like an injured cat and you explore like a cyber city, which is like the stereotypical kind of cyberpunk look. Cyberpunk 2077 is obviously the main example for the cyberpunk game, and then Cloudpunk, which is kind of like cyberpunk, but it's like made out of like voxels, but they all have got that kind of like neon nighttime kind of like glow to them all.
Yeah. So when it came to the level design sketches, as you can see to the left was the first one that Ben had designed, which is a fairly typical street cross section with a small alley. That, of course, as you can see with the writing, was going to contain several small shops, some apartment buildings. A lot of them were going to be accessible with some interiors, just to add to the detail of our level. And as you can see, as we come along to the right side, the designs had escalated in detail, but a lot of the buildings had been unidentified with what they were going to be. But as you can see at the very right, we had more of a jagged zigzag of an alleyway with some dead ends added to it as well, and some parts that we were going to add with a climbing animation. However, that seemed to have failed with the first-person character modes, so that's most likely going to be a no-go. Right, and now when it came to the door workings, the code for it was fairly simple. Admit, I had to use a tutorial for most of it, but the part which is unfortunately not in here because I seem to have clicked the wrong piece of script, but on the left box where the open door is closed enough and has key, did have a part that had a get has key variable added into the box with attached to a branch between the press the E key and gate to allow it to act as a required variable for the gate to be able to be opened.
So I made some simple modular like walls in Blender and I imported them into Unreal and then kind of like jigsaw pieced them together to make an actual building. So it's just a video of me walking around it. So I added like lights and stuff after, added some textures, just simply not like a cyberpunk style, but just to get like a feel for like modular buildings and stuff. Yeah. And then this is a test I did with the chain link fence I made in Blender as well. So I just simply, like the modular buildings, basically you just make a fence, make one with a door in, copy and paste it to make like a kind of alley. I had some simple neon lights, just for like a block out building, just to see what like it would kind of be like as a final project. And then this is where we got up to at the moment. This is modular buildings, but with working doors, chain link fence, all with textures, some pallets. There's an AC unit on the side of the house, some street lights. There's atmospheric fog. Loads of other things to like build the to build the game up. Yeah. Any questions or feedback?
Cool. First of all, well done, boys. Yeah, it looks like it's coming on well, doesn't it? Does everyone have any questions before I start? Any thoughts? No? Cool. Talk me through then that change of design between having a single straight alley to a kind of zigzagging with dead ends. What was the thought
I
process?
mean, I think that was just slowly, just simply planning out like a level, and then more thought went into it, thinking about what we could actually do in the timescale we had, and just making it more advanced as we know what we can do.
Yeah, that's it. The general idea from becoming a straight alley was, it was a bit too simple. I say we wanted it to be on the, like slightly more complex, which is of course why we gave it a bit of a zigzag and of course added a few dead ends to make things a little more confusing.
Cool.
Which that's it, which would of course just add to the detail.
Yeah, and then in it you've got like in the plan you've got one bit that's like a shop as well and things like that. So what are those shops going to have in them? What
I think they're just going to be just like not abandoned, but like run down, kind of just corner shops.
Yeah, that's it. Your typical corner shop that will have a fairly small interior.
Yeah.
Makes it slightly easier on the modelling with the lack of time, and of course they will have more slightly more cyber-based items. And when I relate to that is more technological items, more electrical parts.
Yeah.
I say stretching away from the physical use of. Oh no, I didn't. No,
I get what you mean.
But yeah,
like, it's not.
you know what I mean.
They're not like abandoned, but they're like low. They haven't got a lot of money going
Run
into
down rather than
yeah,
abandoned.
yeah,
and selling things that are kind of connected to cyber tech. And then, so in Tom, in your tests, you've got some that are vertical, and then the rest of that is horizontal. Are you going to have both in the level?
Yeah. Like just it's like modular is like as you know, like puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
Like building up a building, different heights. I can like do whatever I really want. To get that like variation and stuff.
Yeah. So again, as with the previous group, think about how you're making that interactive for the player.
Yeah.
Is this a single linear experience that you want them to progress through in that fashion, or is it a immersive experience where they can choose a pathway, and how are you going to adapt to the level for that traversal? Definitely linear.
If it was going to be about the exploration, there is definitely a bit of exploration in the map.
Yeah.
But no, if it's about different choices, different pathways you can take. No, ours is more of a linear one way.
Yeah.
So what's making you decide that it's definitely linear rather than immersive?
Well, I mean, I think our timescale mainly.
Yeah,
like,
mainly the
like
timescale and the fact that we haven't exactly designed multiple ways out. Unless, if we look back at the far right sketch, unless we use the two parallel streets, we could possibly use one of them as a different exit, and maybe one of the dead ends into a shop could be, or into a building that maybe you can't see the inside of could be the ending of the map, which could allow us to make it non-linear.
Yeah, I think the difference is if you do make it linear, then it's about having kind of more elaborate designs in that linear pathway. Because if you think about that, you want it a bit more showy if I'm being forced through a certain pathway, because then you have to worry about the extra bits, do you? Yeah. Cool. Okay. Justin.
You guys got any ideas to add, like maybe some street audio to make it like more immersive?
Yeah, definitely some like background noise or
maybe like if I say car passings or
like swipe like
like kind of like in your general like Cyberpunk with their whole hovering cars and that certain like noise that you get from the energy flow coming out from the
like a hum.
Yeah, like the typical hum coming from like the general floating. From the generators, almost like they'd be added as background as well, as if it's a car coming past, but of course, a Cyberpunk themed. Yeah,
I was definitely like, just like alley noises, like maybe like some wind, like channeling down.
Like some of the typical eerie. Let's say the parts that make alleyways, especially stereotypically, seem a bit more dodgy.
Yeah.
Cool. Good. Thank you guys. Any other questions? No, cool. Thank you very much. Oh no, go on, Kat. Yeah.
Will you do like cyberpunk kind of soundtrack?
I mean, I don't know about soundtrack, but we might be able to find some music which is copyrightable. We might be able to put in like a shop or something.
That's it. I was just about to pick up on the fact that possibly we can add it as. You know how in like small corner shops you'd probably get like a TV in the window or something. Yeah. We could have it as if like there's a small stereo or something in the window that's then, as you walk past it, of course it's ambience, it will pick up as you get closer, and you can hear like a certain soundtrack that maybe we could even make custom, taking pieces and parts from other cyberpunk tracks and piecing a brand new one together.
I'll teach you how to make it from scratch tomorrow. It's fine.
Brilliant. All right.
Cool. Yeah, great. So on the air audio, yeah, good question, Casper. Cool. Great. Any other questions, folks? Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Cheers.